friends, welcome back. Now we are going to see the serous pericardium as well as the sinuses of pericardium. So again we'll refresh that the serous pericardium is a thin double-layered serous membrane lined by mesothelium. Here we have removed the heart to expose the sinuses here. This is the posterior aspect of the pericardium. And this serous membrane, double-layered serous membrane, is lined by mesothelium. The outer layer is the parietal pericardium, and which is fused with the fibrous pericardium, and the inner layer is the visceral pericardium. That visceral pericardium is also called as epicardium, which is fused to the heart except along the cardiac grooves, where it is separated from the heart by blood vessels. Okay, so like we have seen some grooves or fissures in the lungs, as same way heart will also some grooves. So over that grooves, this visceral pericardium is not fused here, and this layer is separated from the heart by blood vessels. Okay, normally that grooves will lodges the blood vessels. Okay, the two layers are continuous with each other at the roots of the great vessels, and the pericardial cavity is the potential space present between the parietal pericardium and the visceral pericardium. It contains only a thin film of serous fluid which lubricates the opposite surfaces and allows the heart to move smoothly. That thing we can see in the functions of the pericardium. Okay, now coming to the contents of the pericardium. So if you can see the what are the contents present in the pericardium. So this portion is filled with heart. So it is having the heart at the center, and with cardiac vessels and nerves. So the contents of pericardium includes the heart with cardiac vessels and nerves, and also this ascending aorta. This one is the ascending aorta, and this one is the pulmonary trunk, and also the lower half of the superior vena cava, and the terminal part of the inferior vena cava, and the terminal parts of the pulmonary veins. And these are the contents of the pericardium. Okay, now coming to the sinuses of the pericardium, the epicardium. So the epicardium is also called as visceral pericardium. That one is the inner layer of serous pericardium. So the epicardium at the roots of great vessels is arranged in the form of two tubes. So the arterial tube, this is the arterial tube. This arterial tube encloses the ascending aorta, ascending aorta, and the pulmonary veins or pulmonary trunk, that is called as arterial end of the heart tube, and the venous tube encloses. Here you can see this the pygmy appears both are attached together. No, it is having some space between this superior vena cava and the arch of aorta. So there is a lot of distance in between them. So, and the venous tube encloses the superior vena cava. So superior vena cava as well as the inferior vena cava. Like this, it is enclosing. You can see that white layer which is enclosing this inferior vena cava, and all the terminal parts of the pulmonary veins. This is one tube that is called as venous tube. So the arterial tube encloses the ascending aorta and the pulmonary trunk, and the venous tube encloses the vena cava and the pulmonary veins. Okay, so the visceral layer or epicardium at the roots of great vessels is arranged in the form of two tubes. One is the arterial tube and the another one is the venous tube. The arterial tube encloses aorta and the pulmonary trunk, and the venous tube. So this arterial tube is also called as arterial end of the heart tube, and this venous tube encloses the vena cava, that is superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, and also the terminal parts of the pulmonary veins. This forms the venous end of the heart tube. Okay, here the passage between the two tubes, is known as transverse pericardial sinus. This is called as transverse pericardial sinus. So the passage between the two tubes is known as the transverse sinus of pericardium or transverse pericardial sinus. Okay, so this will have some surgical importance. The transverse pericardial sinus can be used to identify and which helps subsequently ligate means ligate the arteries of the heart during coronary artery bypass grafting. So normally we have seen that so many blocks are there in the arteries which are supplied to the heart. So for that some grafting is done to bypass the blood supply. So for that, during that kind of surgery, they will ligate this arteries, this arterial end, that is the pulmonary and pulmonary as well as the ascending aorta. This thing have to identify because of this transverse pericardial sinus. That means if they find this transverse pericardial sinus, it is very easy that above this one will have this arterial end, they will ligate this arterial tube during coronary artery bypass grafting. Okay, this is one of the importance of transverse pericardial sinus. For that reason, you should know that where the sinus is present. And also at the venous end of the vessels and the pericardium around them are so arranged that they enclose a recesses which is called the oblique sinus. So this forms like this. Here you can see this oblique sinus. Because of this arrangement, this forms the oblique sinus of the pericardium. Okay, and this transverse sinus is a horizontal gap between the arterial and venous ends of the heart tube, and it is bounded anteriorly by the ascending aorta and the pulmonary trunk, and posteriorly by the superior vena cava and the left atrium. On each side, it opens into the general pericardial cavity. So on each side it opens into, so this transverse sinus opens into the pericardial cavity. So once during surgery, what will happen if they identify this sinus using this as a landmark, and anterior to this sinus they will ligate this arteries here. Okay, so the transverse sinus is a horizontal gap between the arterial and the venous ends of the heart tube. It is bounded anteriorly by the pulmonary trunk and the ascending aorta, and posteriorly by the superior vena cava and the left atrium. On each side it opens into the general pericardial cavity. Now coming to the oblique sinus, this is the oblique sinus, is a narrow gap is a narrow gap behind the heart. So here heart is present, heart is removed, so this is present behind the heart. It is bounded anteriorly. So what is the part of the heart which is facing posteriorly is the left atrium, that we are going to see in the external features of the heart. So you should know that normally this sinus is anteriorly bounded by the left atrium and posteriorly by the parietal pericardium. What is that? Parietal pericardium. On the right and left sides, it is bounded by the reflections of the pericardium. So these are the reflections of the pericardium, that is the pulmonary veins, and it opens below, it opens into the rest of the pericardial cavity. So this oblique sinus permits pulsations of the left atrium to take place freely. So this space permits pulsations of the left atrium. We can read the pulsations of the left atrium at the level of oblique sinus. Okay, these are about the sinuses of the heart, that is the pericardium, serous pericardium, and its importance. Okay, and if you want to see this pericardium functions, it is having, by seeing, if you have seen that by seeing this orange peel, we have compared with that orange fruit, isn't it? So that orange peel, by seeing this orange peel, we thought that it doesn't have any function. We simply remove that peel and we'll take it off. But we know its physiological functions in detail, then we can understand the importance of that outer peel. So in the same way, this pericardium is having some important function regarding with the heart. Okay, the main functions of this pericardium, it fixes the heart. So it fixes the heart inside the pericardium, heart in the mediastinum. Okay, so this pericardium fixes the heart in the mediastinum and limits the motion. So it limits the motion. Normally, the limitation of this motion of the heart is done by the attachments of the pericardium, and this pericardium is attached to the diaphragm at the base anteriorly to the sternum, and also the outer layers of the great vessels. Because of these, all these attachments, the heart is fixed in the mediastinum and limits the motion. And also this pericardium prevents overfilling of the heart. That means it plays a very important role in the physical limit on the potential organ. Okay, so that means because of inextensibility, that means I have already told that the outer layer, that is the external layer, which is tough and inextensibility, that means the stretching, the elasticity of that outer layer is very less because it is made up of with fibrous tissue. Because of inextensible fibrous layer of the pericardium prevents the heart from increasing size too rapidly. So this will prevent the heart from increasing in size too rapidly, and thus placing a physical limit on the potential organ. So because of this pericardium, the heart will expand, the heart will increase in size within the limit. It will not increase too rapidly because of this fibrous pericardium. Okay, and another function is the lubrication. The lubrication is a thin film of fluid which is present between the two layers of the pericardium, reduces the friction generated by the heart as it moves within the thoracic cavity. Okay, this will reduces the friction which is generated by the heart. Why? Because the heart is moving always. So where? In the thoracic cavity. So it reduces the friction between the heart and the structures which are present surrounding the heart in the thoracic cavity. And this pericardium also protects from infections. This pericardium also protects from infections to the heart. Okay, so the fibrous pericardium serves as a physical barrier between the muscular body of the heart and the adjacent organs. So the adjacent organs which are prone to infections such as lungs. So whatever may be any lung infections will not transmit to the heart because of the presence of this pericardium. So this pericardium serves as a physical barrier between the muscular body of the heart and the adjacent organs which are prone to infection such as lungs. So these are all the functions, the physiological functions of the pericardium. Okay, so this is about the pericardium and its layers and its functions. And in the next video, we are going to see the arterial supply and the nerve supply and also the applied anatomy of the pericardium in the next video. Thank you.